Live on a Thursday. It's the 19th of June. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens lunch hour live stream. I am Bobby Trossett. Sarah Ellison will be with us momentarily. She's been running around, doctor's appointments, mom duties call. You know how it goes. She'll be with us in just a moment. Today's live stream is brought to you by our friends at Baltimore County Golf, and I hope that you are prepared and ready to roll because we got a jam-packed, I'm just going to say it now, hour plus. I wouldn't be surprised if today pushes 90 minutes, maybe, just maybe. I don't think it's going to be 120. Yesterday was 120 for a very good reason, and you guys know exactly why. Because if you woke up today and you thought, was it real? Yes, it is real, and it was real. Jaire Alexander has become a Baltimore Raven. It's a one-year, $6 million deal. That's actually a base value of $4 million with $2 million in incentives that could get him to $6 million. He turned down more money to be in Baltimore, to reunite with Lamar Jackson, of course, his college teammate, and to join Zach Orr's secondary as the star corner that he has flashed as throughout his career. Yes, availability has been a knock, something that's been a setback of his in recent seasons. But given the limited money, the monetary value of this for the Ravens, with very limited risk and a high level of reward, knowing that when he has been healthy, he has been one of the true lockdown cover corners in this league. You got to be excited about it. That is one of the many things we will discuss right off the top of today's show, because it's sort of this discussion that was had within national circles yesterday, and that is this. Do the Ravens have every single piece that they need to go make a championship run? There's a lot of folks that feel that that's exactly what is now into fruition for the Baltimore Ravens. The Super Bowl or bust mode is on. It's been here. The win now mode is on. It's been here. And Eric DeCosta and this front office have certainly been acting like it. At 12:30, we will be joined by a featured guest, our special featured guest. And I'll give a little tease this way. It's a current Ravens rookie on the defensive side of the ball. That's what we have coming up at 12:30. Marlon Humphrey calls out Baltimore's defense entering this upcoming season. A boatload of quick hits and a whole lot more. So glad you can be with us. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell and maybe, just maybe, consider becoming a channel member. We got a milestone that's right around the corner. We begin today's show with 876 Voltrons, 876 channel members. That's what we start today with, and we will go through super chats and gifts as they come in. Want to thank you guys for being here yet again. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and let's talk more about Jaire Alexander, because, again, that Lamar Jackson influence was significant. They played their college football together at Louisville. And yes, Jaire can earn $500,000 for each of the following playtime thresholds, according to Mike Garafolo of NFL Network: 35%, 40%, 45%, and 50%. So in total, that is $2 million in very reachable incentives should he stay healthy. On paper, you have now just brought in two cornerback CB3 options in Chido Awuzie and Jaire Alexander for $10 million. That is a bargain. And it's probably less than $10 million, because that's the number that might be in before the incentive, just assuming that the incentives are reached. So knowing that you now have that kind of depth behind Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey at the cornerback position, we haven't even talked about the rest of this star-studded secondary. And oh, by the way, there's two members of that star-studded secondary, the aforementioned Marlon Humphrey and the newest Raven, Jaire Alexander, who was a observer of yesterday's mandatory minicamp day 2. There he is, greeting team owner Steve Bisciotti, hanging out with his fellow corner and fellow member of the secondary, Marlon Humphrey. And there you have it. The secondary at a glance. All former first-round picks, including the most recent one in Malachi Starks. Nate Wiggins, Chido Awuzie, Jaire Alexander, Marlon Humphrey are your four corners. And we're not even mentioning the likes of TJ Tampa, who's had a solid start to his spring off season, and a couple of the corners, of course, that they drafted back in April on day 3. Of course, you got to mention the safeties as well, and the star tandem that Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks have the chance to be for this organization. A lot more to be said and done on Malachi's part with our Darius Washington down with that torn Achilles. What an opportunity that he has in front of him. And WJZ catching the first look of Jaire, observing, dapping up Marlon, hanging out with his teammates, hanging out with staff members. Look at these two. They've already touched base. They've known each other for a long time. They've obviously, I'm sure there's been a rapport there, a mutual respect. Jaire spent all of his years since entering the NFL in Green Bay. That's the organization that he was released by within the last 10 days or so after a restructured contract could not be agreed upon. So that is what took place yesterday as we were live, and the perfect time to welcome in my co-host and partner, because we gave him 120 minutes nearly yesterday, and it was worthy. It was a worthy cause, because this is garnering a ton of attention, as we know, which we're about to segue into, Sarah, because now there really are no excuses. You could argue there weren't any excuses last year, aside from that, poor pass defense through the first 10 or 11 weeks. Now, what are we talking? Weak side linebacker questions and kicker. Pretty darn good position to be in. And Eric DeCosta and that aggressiveness this offseason continues, partner.
Yeah, I feel like, Eric has done his job. I feel like it's now up to the players and coaches. And I don't know if you've played, or talked about Ryan Clark. I'm just kind of coming in off the cuff here. But, it's hard to look at the weaknesses on this roster, right? We can definitely nitpick maybe inside linebacker. We don't know who's going to emerge. Is Trenton Simpson going to finally step up? Is Teddy Bruschi going to be the guy? Kicker's making us a little bit nervous right now. There's that competition at left guard. But Eric DeCosta has put all the pieces in place for that to happen. And at some point, right, the players and coaches have to develop themselves. If you're a player or if you're a coach, you have to help develop them. And I thought that you started to see that all over on Twitter yesterday, that personnel-wise, we're here, right? Again, you can go get some more depth. If you want to go get some more depth at safety, that's fine too. Little nitpicky things right there. But Ryan Clark said it. He said, if the Ravens stay healthy in the most important positions, they should win the whole dang thing. Our girl Rita over at 105.7, The Fan, she says, barring injury, there's no excuses. None. Zero. Period. There's just none. Field Yates and Louis Riddick, Bobby, they talked about the exact same thing. It is the theme since they signed Jaire Alexander. The final pieces for a championship run are in Baltimore.
Plugged all the holes. I mean, look, offensively, Zay Flowers coming back, healthy. I mean, that's going to be huge. D-Hop being added, that's going to be huge. They're loaded at running back. The offensive line is solid. They got an MVP quarterback. On the defensive side, think about it like this. I mean, Phil was talking earlier about the fact that, they weren't able to really register the kind of pass rush win rate that you wanted. I mean, they are loaded. They're 6 deep at outside linebacker. Yeah. 6 deep. They have 6 guys that any team would take right now as a prospective outside pass rusher. They draft Malachi Starks. And then they go and get Jaire Alexander to go with Nate Wiggins and move Marlon Humphrey inside. There really isn't anything else they can do. They've got the pieces now. We know this is largely mental with this football team. Once they get into the postseason, can they mentally lock in? It's not a personnel issue. It's not a personnel issue. This is a mental issue now.
Lewis, you know this too. When you're one of these teams that is in that upper tier, that basically got to get over that hump, or if you're like the Kansas City Chiefs in recent years, you're already at the top of the mountain. You take these calculated swings. The reality is, over the course of time, they're not all going to work out. But on paper, pretty minimal risk, right? It's a one-year deal for Jaire Alexander, still in his 20s, should be motivated to get that big bite at the apple next March if he can cash in. Playing with his college teammate gives the team some depth at a position that you can never have too much depth. I'm not saying these kind of things are the ones that ultimately qualify a team as a Super Bowl contender or not. But minimal downside for the Baltimore Ravens, given that we know the financials involved, as Shefty reported earlier today.
You say limited downside. There's even upside, because now if Jaire Alexander has the kind of year that you're talking about him having, Field, and he leaves in free agency.
You know they love Shefty.
The Baltimore Ravens get a compensatory draft pick. So
love
they
it.
get Jaire Alexander this year and then set themselves up for more compensatory draft picks in the future. So there's no downside for the Baltimore. They make their quarterback happy.
Right.
They bolster their secondary, and they
Really
set up their
smart
team
move.
for the future for $4 million.
He's talking Eric DeCosta's language right there, throwing in the C word, compensatory pick. But Bobby, this idea that, for the most part, there can be some tweaking. Eric DeCosta has done his job in putting together a Super Bowl caliber roster. Are you in agreement with that?
Oh, no question. I mean, look at this. It dates back to, we're just talking about in the Ravens realm here, is just talking about recent months.
Yeah.
Right, with this tweet, and for the audio-only audience, he's signed Jaire Alexander to potentially be your CB3. You've already got Chido Awuzie as that insurance piece. He was banged up with a minor ankle injury within the last week or so at OTAs, but that's somebody that on paper, up until 24 hours ago, was supposed to be your Brandon Stevens replacement. But now you have options, and we haven't even talked about the likes of TJ Tampa. Okay, from there, you go get DeAndre Hopkins back in March in free agency. A player that, sure, is 33. You don't need him to be the DeAndre Hopkins of old. You're not paying him to be the DeAndre Hopkins of old. And oh, by the way, your quarterback sure enjoys that and wanted that at one point in his career, much like he did Odell Beckham Jr.
You need him to
You
be
go and
what
get Malachi
Deontay
Starks
Johnson
when he
should
falls.
have been, right, Bobby?
Say that again.
You need him to be what Deontay Johnson should have been.
It could very well have been too.
But he'll probably
had
be
his
more.
head on right?
Yeah.
You get Malachi Starks dropping to you at 27. You get Mike Green really dropping to you. You take a chance in the second round on him. You go get Derrick Henry a year ago. He goes off for a historic season. You extend him. You do right by him. And you do right, most importantly, by Rashad Bateman coming off a career year for him, who's such a complimentary piece to Zay Flowers at Lamar's disposal. So, yeah, the Ravens realm is saying, let Eric DeCosta cook. He's been cooking, Sarah. It goes back multiple years. And I think we have to really put him in the upper echelon when you think about league executives with the Howie Rosemans of the world, with the Lynches in San Francisco of the world, because he has been pushing all the right buttons and he understands, like our thumbnail says, the time is now.
Well, what's crazy is the biggest weakness of the Ravens last year was their pass defense, whether it was the secondary or not getting, enough of a pass rush in key moments. And Eric attacked that. You used your first round draft pick on Malachi Starks. And then you use your second round draft pick on a guy who many people are saying could be the second best pass rusher in this draft class. He's supposed to be that game wrecker that the Ravens have been looking for. And we obviously need to give him grace and let him have rookie moments and growth and whatnot. And he moved on from Brandon Stevens. He moved on from Marcus Williams. He moved on from Eddie Jackson, although those things happened. Eddie Jackson happened in the middle of the season. So he attacked that. He kept every single one of the pass rushers, but then added this young pass rusher. So he absolutely attacked that. And then the offensive line, we're in phase 2 of the offensive line rebuild. Last year was the first phase where they let go and had 3 brand new starters. And then this year was the second phase. And we have some questions about guard, but he added 3 offensive linemen. We haven't even seen Emory Jones yet and what he might be able to do in that competition. So, and then they had to move on from Justin Tucker. We're a little bit nervous about the kicker position, but he used a draft pick on a kicker, the first kicker to come off the board. So, and then, by the way, in getting some of these deals, as at Reinhard NFL pointed out, he got flyers on both Alexander and Awuzie for a total of $7 million. A total of $7 million. He got both of them. So, yeah, Yeah, he could do some tweaking still. Who knows about those in-season trades? He loves those. He's left enough money to do that. And obviously, he's got to get some extensions done, but that's more for years ahead, right? We got to get Kyle Hamilton. We got to get Isaiah Likely, Lamar Jackson, Linderbaum, things like that. So he's got work to do for years ahead, but for 2025, it's now into the coaches and players' hands.
Well said. One last nugget from Adam Schefter on how this all came to be. Again, yesterday's blockbuster signing, Jaire Alexander, coming to Baltimore.
The fact that Lamar Jackson made a personal plea to his general manager, Eric DeCosta, to go sign Jaire Alexander yesterday. The truth of the matter is they had been talking throughout the offseason, and since Green Bay released Jaire Alexander, Baltimore always was in square contention to sign him. And even though the Ravens couldn't offer as much money as other teams such as the Carolina Panthers, they could offer Jaire the chance to be reunited with his college teammate Lamar Jackson, and in the end, that made the difference, along with the one-year deal that allows him to step into a defense that's loaded, a secondary that's loaded. He can thrive there if he stays healthy, and then he would become a free agent after the season as we get a look here.
So, Sarah, there's one thing that I want to discuss within all of this.
Yeah.
And that is the way that Eric DeCosta has been able to execute some pretty top-notch, coveted business in recent years. And Brian McFarland, friend of the show, Ravens salary cap analyst for RussellStreetReport.com, was all over it yesterday. He says, love the fact that the Ravens can keep this totally under the wraps, and no one knows it's happening until they post/announce it themselves. Sarah, they had all the content in the world being released yesterday, really before any national insider was able to confirm this. You just had them regurgitating what the Ravens were tweeting about. And this just brings you back to 2023, when the biggest contract saga in recent memory, not named Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns for various different reasons, when this was taking place for months on end between Lamar and the Ravens camp, you heard very little. They were so tightened up. It was such a buttoned up process. And while I'm sure things got tense at times, as we remember throughout, as Eric DeCosta has mentioned in the past, saying it was one of the most excruciatingly difficult deals that he's been a part of since he's become general manager, they have such a mutual respect for one another. And Eric has such a way of going about his business that I think that should be celebrated on a day like today, because this isn't just a one-off. It's a trend, and the Ravens are in really good hands with EDC at the helm.
It is kind of crazy how he is able to keep it under wraps. Like with Lamar Jackson and the contracts there, I see how they are more easily keep it quiet, because Lamar doesn't talk either, and he doesn't have an agent who talks. And so those types of things. But Jaire Alexander, I mean, was like, he's been on the trading block for months, and he's premier talent. Like, talent like him doesn't come available in June very often. So you know that people like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and other reporters are wanting to get information on it. And yet somehow Eric DeCosta is able to keep it under wraps. It just keeps the drama out of things. That's number one. Number two, in that Schefter soundbite that we played, he talked about how Jaire had other offers for more money. What was the pull? Lamar Jackson. And so, as much credit as we're giving Eric DeCosta this morning, and it's very well deserved, we also have to give a cap tip to Lamar Jackson, because when you have an MVP quarterback who just so happen to be teammates with this all-pro cornerback, and they've got a phenomenal relationship, it helps to pull him in for $4 million plus incentives. So Eric DeCosta has one of the best pieces of bait that you could throw out on your fishing pole when you're trying to get in premier talent like Alexander. So a little hat tip to Lamar Jackson too.
I guess to wrap up this like opening commentary, the time is now. Right?
Time is now.
They've got everything they need. We said that a year ago, and they came limping out of the gates for reasons that we know are well documented. But they have gone to the nth degree so far this offseason to not only right their wrongs from a year ago, but almost add on top of that insurance piece after insurance piece in certain positional groups so that this team's going to be full throttle in a couple months from now when the 2025 regular season begins. So that is the way we begin today. We're about 10 minutes out from our featured guest interview with a Ravens rookie. We're going to surprise you as he comes onto the screen, so we're looking forward to that. Let's get a read in here.
You haven't said who it is yet?
I have not.
I almost let it slip. I almost let it slip earlier. I thought you would say it at the beginning of the show, but I'm glad I didn't let it slip.
I thought you'd be pretty proud of me that I've kept it under the wraps up until this point. So
you've done well.
What a shock that I can actually keep my mouth shut for once and allow this to all kind of be spontaneous in the next few minutes. I will say you just went a little foggy on me, so I'm going to get this read in. Let me know if that changes at all or there's anything that you need to do. But in the meantime, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Baltimore County Golf. And if you've been following along over the last couple of weeks, well, obviously it's June in Baltimore. That's a golf month, baby. And Baltimore County Golf is operating 5 public golf courses that you can get on the links to. You can go enjoy the game of golf, learn the game of golf if you're in or around the Baltimore County region. I'm talking about Greystone, the Woodlands, Diamond Ridge, Fox Hollow, Rocky Point. You can play more and pay less with Baltimore County Golf. Consider grabbing a 3-pack of lessons from a Baltimore County Golf teaching professional near you. You can start playing more this summer. How about Fox Hollow Training Center? Courtesy of them, we were able to give away a $350 gift certificate that went towards credit at the Fox Hollow Training Center. Our friend Daniel Geiger won it for a Father's Day special. Be curious to see what he ended up getting. Maybe he got like a fitting or a new driver or you name it. But at Fox Hollow Training Center, if you want to get your kids maybe involved in some summer activities, they got special clinics all summer long that introduce you to the game of golf and get you comfortable on the golf course. You can sign up for the Advantage card. On top of all this, $40 is going to get you greens fee and golf shop discounts, 16-day advanced tee time reservations, $20 in coupons, access to twilight times 1 hour earlier than the general public, and loyalty rewards points on everything from greens fees to food and beverage. If you want to learn more, you can go to BaltimoreGolfing.com. You can find that link that's in the show notes. It's also a pinned comment right now. We'll have much more coming with them, but go check out their site. If you click those links that I just mentioned, it brings you to what you're seeing on the screen right here. They got some great footage, some drone footage of their courses, instructional tips, annual passes, and specials information. I mean, there's a boatload of things that you can learn. Go check it out. And thanks to Baltimore County Golf for all the support and for believing in what we're building here in Baltimore and beyond. Shall we get to some super chats and gifts before we bring on our guest?
For sure.
Oh, you know what? He's already...
yeah, he's here. And listen, I know I'm a little bit foggy. I think it's because there's a rainstorm outside, but so far I'm still connected. Is my voice okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. All right.
You're all good. No, you got some gnarly weather passing through Columbus?
Yeah, there was, especially last night, it got heavy rainfall for sure.
Gotcha. Well, super chats and gift givings will have to wait because our featured guest just dropped into the waiting room. And Sarah, in the 4th round back in April's NFL draft, the Ravens selected Cal linebacker Teddy Buchanan. This dude is a physical force, and he's already flashing based on what we've heard and seen through some of the snippets released after OTAs. Well, guess what? OTAs is now come and went. It's behind him. Mandatory minicamp is just finished up, and we have a chance to chat before training camp, before his inaugural NFL season with the newest Ravens linebacker. Teddy, so good to have you on the show. We appreciate you for carving out some time. And, you just finished up minicamp. Your days removed from finishing up OTAs. So what's it feel like to have a couple benchmarks under your system here for the Ravens?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. Great to be on. It feels good. It's a cool feeling just to have that under my belt, OTAs and minicamp, and to say I've gone through that is a cool feeling. And I feel like they went really well, and just everything's kind of building up towards training camp in the season. So just super excited and looking forward to what's ahead.
Teddy, what has life been like since your collegiate season just ended? It seems like for almost all rookies, it's just this whirlwind. So what is this whole offseason been like for you? Number one, and number two, what's been your impressions of joining the Ravens?
Yeah, this offseason, like you said, it's been busy, but it's been fun. I've got to do a lot of things that I've dreamed of my whole life. Spent 2 months in Miami training for the combine, did the combine, got to play in the East-West Shrine Bowl, and then obviously the draft, and getting up here to Baltimore. And since I've been up here, it's been amazing. Yeah, I just can't say enough good things about the organization, the way things are run, the team we have, the players, the coaches. I just feel like I got super lucky to land in this spot, and I get to learn from guys like Roe and Trent and those older guys. And yeah, I felt super welcomed by everyone. So I've had an amazing experience so far.
We were just watching some highlights from your OTA sessions and whatnot. I wanted to play some comments from your new defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, on what he's seen so far. We'll get your reaction on the other side of this.
The Raven, his college film, he flies around and he seeks contact. He can play in space, and he's a smart player. I mean, you talk about a guy who came from a smaller school, dominated that, then made a one-year jump, got there kind of like during the middle of the summer, and dominated in the ACC at a big school. So I'm excited about Teddy. We throwing a lot of his plays. He's playing both positions for us, Mike, Will, and Dime, and he's done a good job going out there so far.
Mike, Will, and Dime. We're definitely going to revisit that versatility in just a bit. How you must have been drinking from the fire hose over the last couple of weeks. But to hear your coordinator first and foremost speak that kind of, those kind of glowing remarks. One, how's that make you feel? And two, he kind of mentioned it. You go from Cal Davis, 4-year career there. You transfer in for your 5th year to Cal, and you ball out in the ACC. What was that transition like, and what did it take to get that done?
Yeah, it's always cool to hear that from your coordinator. Coach Orr has done a great job of setting up the defense, and for me, it's just been all about learning and building that foundation. Staying extra after practice to watch this film. I feel like it's just been super important to kind of build up that foundation. So set up those habits for the rest of my career. So yeah, I can just be as good of a player I can be going forward. And then just the transition from Davis to Cal, and kind of going from FCS to Power 4 football. It was a good transition. I mean, I think about just doing the same things that I did at Davis and just continuing to do those throughout my career really helped me. Just those good habits and kind of that humility that I gained, I guess, from not being a big time recruit, I think really helped me in the long run. So yeah, I wouldn't take any of that back. It's interesting. Like, Cal was my dream school out of high school, but I didn't necessarily get that right away. So I think that delayed gratification kind of taught me the value of hard work. So yeah, like I said, I wouldn't change anything about it.
Good for you. That's awesome to realize that dream, that ability, or I guess that experience to pick up a new defense on the fly, moving from one college to the other. Are you able to lean on that as you try to now move up to the NFL ranks and just drink from the fire hose as a rookie?
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. Yeah, having learned multiple defenses, that definitely is something I can lean on, because I can take bits and pieces from both defenses that I've learned and kind of apply them to the defense I'm learning now. Then also just the process of knowing what it's like to learn a new defense is honestly a very similar process to what I had last year. Because I couldn't leave Davis until I graduated, which was in June. So I didn't get up to Cal really until June. I kind of started learning the defense around April. So, it's a very similar timeline. So yeah, I feel like I've been here in a sense before. Obviously it's a new situation, but yeah, that experience has definitely helped me a lot.
Just to revisit that comment at the end of the snippet that we played of ZO, Mike, Will, and Dime. So you're getting reps at all 3 alignments. Is that normal, or are you showcasing some versatility that's giving them confidence to see what you can do throughout this early process in the spring?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's anything, out of the ordinary, but it definitely is something that I'm embracing. And I think for me as a player, it shows add value and just shows my versatility being able to play. It's really just the two inside linebacker spots. And yeah, for me, I think it's good for me also to get an understanding of the bigger picture of the defense, and that's kind of what you're forced to do when you learn both, because you're not really able to lean on memorization, like, oh, this call, I have this. You kind of have to understand what guys are doing around you and just kind of where you fit into the bigger picture. So that's been a blessing for me, just to be able to learn both positions.
Teddy, can you take me into a little bit? I've been covering the Ravens since 2005, and I've seen a lot of linebackers come through. I've seen some greats like Ray Lewis and now Roquan Smith. I'll ask about him in just a minute. But one thing that I've noticed that's particularly more difficult is being able to drop back in that pass coverage as linebackers, and even like great linebackers like Patrick Queen or CJ Mosley. It took a couple years to try to figure out the more pass defense where you know what's going on behind you. But to have Zach say you're already kind of in dime, and I know that's one of your calling cards is being able to drop back. Can you take us into that? And do you take pride in being able to have that ability to cover in the pass game?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of the game is for linebackers is just, of course, first job is to stop the run, but you have to be able to play the pass in this league, especially with the type of quarterbacks and schemes that they have. So yeah, for me, it's all about getting a feel for what's going on behind me, understanding concepts and understanding how offenses are trying to attack. So for me, that's really just film right now and just getting those reps in practice and understanding, kind of the different schemes that are in the NFL compared to college. So yeah, it's all a learning process. And for me, I'm just diving into that as hard as I can.
Teddy, I'm sure Sarah's going to ask you specifically about Roquan in just a bit, and we're definitely curious to hear your answer on that because we had the privilege of doing like a bi-weekly type of show with him a couple years ago, and it was just a pleasure, and I'm sure he's already been incredibly giving to you throughout your transition and whatnot. But I'm sure you've watched some film by now of last year, and you know that there was some turnover at the weak side linebacker alongside Roquan. It went from Trenton to a rotation in Chris Board and Malik Harrison, who both left in free agency. So I guess I wonder, what is your mindset entering your first camp, and how do you plan on going about putting your best foot forward, whether it's, hey, let me go earn my keep on special teams, or I'm going right after this weak side linebacker spot, and I feel like that's an area that I can win this job. Is there a job to be won in your mind at this point, very early in the process?
Yeah, for me, it's all about just focusing on myself and, whatever I can do to make the team better. That's really up to the coaches. And yeah, I'm just focused on making my mark in whatever way I can, whether that be special teams, defense. And, I'm always a process-oriented guy, so I'm focused on the process and, whatever the result may be, it will.
Okay, so tell us about Roquan. I mean, we, like Bobby said, we had a great experience with him coming on almost every other week. He'll fire you up. So what are your impressions of Roquan, and do you have any good stories about him yet?
Yeah, I really appreciate Ro kind of embracing me as a rookie and taking the time to teach me and, correct me when I make mistakes and just talk about football and his experiences and different things he's been through. So he's just an amazing leader and hearing even his I've heard stories about his game time speeches, but even his smaller speeches, he's always dropping great quotes and dimes and different pieces of knowledge. Not sure I have a particular story yet, but I'm sure as time goes on I'll have a few to tell.
What are some of those phrases? We always heard pressure makes diamonds or bust pipes. What else does he always say, Bobby? He's got so many of them.
One of the things he loves, Teddy, is just like, hey, we're going to roll the ball out on concrete wherever, what time, whatever it is, and we'll be there. Like he's just wired differently. And I'll be curious to kind of, see how your relationship forms with him, because he has kind of continued this legacy that I know well, because we watched your first press conference as a Raven the day that you were drafted. and you were quick to mention, growing up watching 52 in the middle part of Baltimore's defense. So I guess I wonder from a legacy standpoint, how much study have you done, and how much have you familiarized yourself with the dominance and the greatness historically that position is seen in this town?
Yeah, I mean, I've done my best to understand, the legacy, and I think the coaches have done a great job of helping us understand. And yeah, man, there's been so many great linebackers, so many great players defensively. For me, it really makes me want to elevate my game and just to live up to the guys who have done it before us. I feel like that's super important as a player, to respect and honor those guys who have come before you, and the coaches have made it a point for us to learn and understand, just the greatness of the Ravens defense, man. It's really, really cool to step into the building that so many greats have stepped into and sit in the same seats that they did. So it's just an amazing opportunity for me, I feel like.
Last question for me, Teddy. Speaking of legacies and greats and all that, who did you look up to when you were playing football coming up? I don't know if you played linebacker your whole life. I know a lot of guys sometimes play other positions, but who is it that you kind of idolized as you were growing up?
Yeah, I actually grew up playing a lot of quarterback. So I played quarterback all the way up until my senior year of high school. So I really like Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees. There's a lot of great quarterbacks. Tom Brady, obviously. So in terms of my actual position, those are. And then I was a Commanders fan growing up, so I actually really like the RG3 and Kirk Cousins. So all those guys were the kind of the players that I looked up to at the time.
How did you transition to linebacker? What's the story behind that?
Well, it's actually an interesting story. So my junior year of high school, I went into the season as a starting quarterback. I kind of had a QB battle and ended up winning it. And then I broke my thumb in practice, my throwing thumb. And I was like, we had a rival game coming up, so I really, really wanted to play. It was like, for us, one of the biggest games. We played at like a neutral site. It's a really cool game. And I wanted to play really bad, so I ended up getting a club on my hand and kind of played the rest of the season with a club. And then based off like those 7-8 games that I played, I had my little huddle tape and got a few offers off of that. And that's kind of how I knew. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not playing quarterback anymore. But my senior year, I did play quarterback again just because that was what the team needed. But yeah, it was a blessing in disguise for sure that I am forever grateful for.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does the thumb look normal years later?
Oh yeah, the thumb's
okay. Yeah. You never know with fingers in football.
Yeah, no, they're good for now. I mean, as good as they can be.
You'll see some analysts on TV with mangled hands for sure. Thinking of, yeah.
Offensive trenches guys, right? Typically,
yeah,
in the trenches. A couple more from me, Teddy, before we get you out of here, if that's cool. But one, are you painting at the moment?
No, the art kind of has taken a pause for film study and sleep. But next off season, I think will be a good time to get it going.
Well, for those that don't know, can you elaborate on kind of your background, your art background?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy art. It's probably my main hobby outside of football. I feel like it's a good way to just express myself in a different way. And I guess I'll plug my art Instagram. It's Teddy's art right there. So yeah, that's just some of my stuff. I'm not really like overly invested in it, but it is something that I do enjoy, and I feel like it's just a good way for me to spend my time outside of football.
Wow.
Is that you as a baby?
It's not. It's actually it's someone else.
Nice. Yeah, nice. I assume you don't mind me sharing this for everybody, right? For
Not at all.
a little plug. Okay, I should have asked you, but
No,
I figured it's a public Instagram, so why not give it a shot?
Right.
But, you got a meet and greet coming up this week, and that's why you're here, to let us know what's going on in Newark, Delaware. So let me pull up the flyer and whatnot. You can let us know maybe some folks that are north of Baltimore maybe want to pop out, see you, take a couple selfies and whatnot. What do you got going on this weekend?
Yeah, so I'll be over at Pinkberry, hanging out from 2 to 4, and yeah, anyone who wants to come through, I'll be there. Might have a special smoothie. So yeah, just come and find out. Be there, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to getting to know some of the community. You know, they've shown a ton of love already. But when I'm, out of the store or wherever I may be, very welcoming. So yeah, if you're interested, I'll be there.
Love it. We'll link to some information in the show notes so that folks can just immediately find it. And this flyer is up on your social media. So look forward to that. And how about we get you out of here on this, because you mentioned smoothie, and I think it's a good segue because there have been within the fan base some photography and other videography that the Ravens have put out that have gone a little viral within the Ravens Flock Nation about your frame. So can you tell us about your nutrition? And look at you here. I mean, here's some OTA highlights from some of your drill work and whatnot, pre-pads coming on. But yeah, tell us about how you keep that frame intact.
Oh man, I guess it really leads back to my dad. He kind of got me into lifting at a young age and kind of harped the importance of lifting weights and how that can affect your performance on the field and just in sports in general. So I guess that's where it started. And then yeah, I've always been a healthy eater. I'm not a picky eater, which I think I get from my mom. She kind of exposed me to a lot of foods young, so yeah, and overall I really just try and eat healthy. There's no strict diet or anything, but just make good choices day to day, and I feel like over time it leads to good things. And then big on sleep. I feel like that's when you get the muscle recovery, and it allows you to go hard the next day. So just taking care of myself as best as I can and doing all the little things, and I feel like over time yeah, things work out.
It's great.
I imagine you never missed a shoulder shrug opportunity in your life.
And Teddy, I don't know if you can see the live chat, but people are very much complimenting you on all of your artwork. Just unreal.
Oh, thank you. I know I can't see it, but
Okay.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. No. And thank you, Teddy. We hope to do it again, and best of luck with your meet and greet coming up this weekend. And hey, we'll be watching for sure. Training camp's a little over a month away, I think. Rookies report, what is it, Sarah? The 22nd, I think I saw yesterday, or the 15th, one of those two.
Be earlier.
So that'll be coming up soon. Maybe is it the 15th, Teddy?
Rookies, yeah, we'll be there the 15th.
All right. Under a month to go, man. Best wishes. Thank you so much for the time today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Teddy.
Absolutely. Ravens rookie, a linebacker, Sarah, out of Cal. He transferred from Cal Davis, lit up the ACC a year ago for his lone season at Cal, where he just told us was his dream school.
Yeah.
And this is a player that I think a lot of folks are high on. He's extremely well-spoken, high IQ kind of guy. I had to get the whole frame talk in there because he's built like an ox. Let's be clear here, okay? The dude is absolutely built. And just to reiterate one more time here, this is what's coming up in Newark, Delaware this weekend, June 22nd from 2 to 4 o'clock. He is doing a meet and greet. It's cool. Pulaski Highway in Newark, Delaware at a place called Pinkberry. So great opportunity to meet him. He seems like a really sweet guy. And I really appreciate getting to know him a little bit.
What's funny is, how sometimes interviews end and you're like, oh, shoot, I should have mentioned this. I should have told him how you're like his biggest fan. How like from really the day he got drafted, you're like, I think he's going to push Trenton Simpson. But he didn't seem like he wanted to like, you know what I mean? He was like, listen, I'm just going to do whatever. Obviously, everybody wants to start. Otherwise, why are you in this game? Right. But I wanted to tell him how much you've been supporting him. And I forgot.
I know. What do we do? It's funny. I'm scrolling up the live chat. So that's yours that you want back.
Yeah.
And mine is just because a bunch of people like Sebastian and folks are being like, how could you have not asked him who he is most excited to hit come training camp once the pads come on? But you know what's funny? You noticed I tried to talk about the whole competition, the potential open competition.
He wasn't having it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think if we did ask him those types of questions that would get everybody revved up, if he said King Henry, he ain't giving us that. He's too He's too buttoned up, man. That's a pro right there that we just talked to. He's a pro.
Yeah, absolutely. We could have tried to pull a Jamison Hensley. We should have done Jamison and try to follow up with a fun question, try to get in there twice.
You know what? Our pre-show was so insane that we'll have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. But
there we go.
That is Teddy Buchanan, your newest Baltimore Ravens linebacker. Thanks to him and his team for setting this up and being willing on the other side of mandatory minicamp to carve out some time for us. We hope you appreciated that. And let's get to some super chats.
Let's do it.
All right. I'll let you start off here. Samuel Moore has become a member. All right, let's see here. I want to just make sure that I'm noting things accordingly over here.
You get out your little notepad there.
And let's make sure to give Sam.
A pen from outside your ear.
You already know it. Samuel Moore has become a channel member, and that brings us to 877 overall. So maybe 900s in the cards today, Sarah, in terms of official Voltrons. And before the show, as he so often does, Douglas H. Brown Sr. left us a chat.
Said, so happy to be here amongst fellow Ravens fans and the two best analysts in the nation. That's pretty good. I always joke how I'm like not the best at anything in the world, but apparently we're the best. We're the top two in the nation on this. Said shout out world to Sarah and Bobby.
Take it to the bank. Run to the bank with that one. Appreciate you, Douglas. Sod Blitz 34, who's a channel member, says CJ retired. Yes, he did. CJ Mosley announced his retirement today. We will have some news on that coming up a little bit later on. And there's an interesting Ravens twist as well to the news. That'll be coming up later on. Sod Blitz 34 says CJ retired. I wanted badly for him to come back on a veteran minimum deal and get a ring with a broken heart emoji. Honestly, one of the few things this offseason I wanted and didn't get. You got a lot else, though. You got
Remember we interviewed him at the Super Bowl 2 years ago? And I kind of laid out there, you want to come back? You want to come back? And obviously he couldn't say yes because he was still at the Jets. It's the appropriate answer. But I tried to lay the seeds, kind of plant the seeds, but it didn't work out.
I remember that very well. And because we have a direct line to him because of that interview opportunity that we received a couple years ago, I think it'd be nice to reach back out. So I'm planning on doing that. JL Green writes, and this is for you, JL Green, a super chat.
Says, Bobby, this is it. I couldn't believe our incredible luck. Go Ravens and EDC.
Enjoy it, JL. As I said yesterday on my stream, Sarah, I think this is a moment in time. You know, it's a moment in time that if you're a fan, soak it up, man. Allow this to be ingrained in you because there's a heightened level of awareness, it feels like, from all aspects of the organization that the time is indeed now. Monica, who's celebrating 2 months of channel membership as an official Voltron, says, happy Thursday, Voltrons. Thanks, Bobby and Sarah, for all y'all do, and a bunch of emojis that we can't see, but you guys can because of StreamYard. Sod Blitz 34 with another super chat, and yes, he is a channel member.
He says, maybe the best roster since the cap started in 95. And what's crazy is I feel like we've had Eric DeCosta's put together championship rosters the last 2 years. Yeah. Maybe he had 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Although that's more Ozzy, right? Because Ozzy finished in 2018. But,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Woo Woo has become a new channel member of ours. Woo Woo.
Or is it Woo Woo?
Maybe. Bringing us to 888 overall. J Ray says, shout out to EDC. Dude's been cooking lately with a fire emoji. What's up, J Ray? Laura Dillander, Sarah, she's celebrating 3 months of channel membership.
Lamar was so high energy during his presser. It was great to see. With this signing, I was smiling all day and so ready for the season. Let's go. Bobby, I saw somebody retweet the news from the Ravens account yesterday. And it's just like, a regular Ravens fan. And he's like, I'm so happy I left work. And somehow that blew up. And even Kyle Van Noy responded to it. So I don't think Laura is alone. I mean, he had to leave work to celebrate the Jaire Alexander signing.
My man walked out. He may not even have clocked out if there's a clock in system. He's out of there. He's going to celebrate. Screw PTO. He's out.
That's right.
He probably stayed clocked in. Knowing him, he was probably so high on life that he's just staying clocked in. Park Heights Profit hitting us with an orange banner and a $23 super chat on top of that. He's a channel member. And he writes, get Clowney. If we're all in, then let's be all in. Get him and whoever is the best guard on the market. Don't make me have to conceal or, excuse me, don't make me have to cancel my reservation in Santa Clara. Let's put the women and children to bed and go looking for dinner. So Santa Clara, of course, is where the Super Bowl is being played in February of 2026. I don't know what the 23 symbolizes.
20. Number 23, Jaire Alexander.
Is that the number that he's okay? He was.
Oh, that's what he's been wearing. It's what he's been wearing. Trenton Simpson has it right now, so we'll see what happens there.
Gotcha. Appreciate you, PHP. God King checking in.
He said the Steelers are salty. I will say, one of my tweets yesterday, and one of yours blew up. One of yours blew up the other day. I think it was like from the pressers. Maybe it wasn't yesterday or the day before, but yours had like 10,000 likes, one of yours. But anyway, one of mine that randomly, I typed it while you were talking during our show, and I just put out the starting secondary and tweeted here in Baltimore. That blew up, and I cannot tell you how many fans from other markets were like, okay, yeah, this was a sweet move. And I'm bringing this up now because God King is talking about the Steelers being salty. Like, I had Steelers fans being like, okay, yeah, we don't like this move. Like, this, I hate this move. Or like Eagles fans. I mean, I cannot tell you how many other fan bases looked at that and were purely jealous of the Ravens starting secondary.
It's hard not to be when assuming, and it's far from an assumption. It's not a safe assumption, but when he's been healthy, he's just been so darn impactful. Mm-hmm. And in a positionless defense with already two solid corners that allows one all-pro corner to go do what he does best inside and allows Nate to continue to flourish and add things to his plate on the outside. And if Jaire can sustain health, then, man, it's just, you don't feel like out of the gate, you're going to experience the same blows that you did through the first 2 weeks last year that lingered the first quarter plus of the season on the back end with a guy like Jaire that's already being, added to a star-studded secondary. Maggie Liz is a channel member, and a super chat on top of that is way to go, Bobby and Sarah. Love what you're building. Love to be back in the live chat. Go Ravens. It's our time. And I think I saw Maggie earlier on mention that school's out, so she might be in the education setting, and it looks like she's back with us in live form. So great to have you back, Maggie. And if you are in the school format, happy summer to you. KB Barrow with a super chat, Sarah, and they are a channel member.
Says, good Lord, at this point, opposing QBs are going to need to come out of the huddle with a gun. Get the popcorn ready, flock. I will just say, and not to be a Debbie Downer, we're going to need Mike Green to develop. Yeah, we're going to need him to develop because a secondary can be phenomenal, but if you're not putting that quarterback under pressure, like there's only so long they can cover. So Mike Green, we need a resurgence from Matabike, right? Again, EDC's job is done. It's on these players now, but Mike Green, let's go. Like Odafe Owe, play yourself into a huge contract, okay? Give me like 13 sacks. Give that to me, We need it in big moments too.
Yeah, you could be top 1, top 2 in sacks back-to-back years, but when you're finishing the season with a pass rush win rate that ranks 27th league-wide, that's not going to cut it, especially when the lights are on and they're brightest and you're not getting home, which is what we saw happen in Buffalo. By the way, the funny Squidward is Capybara's profile photo. See that?
Oh, yeah.
Squidward. Not a fan. Channel member. Is Sarah. Oh, here we go. Is Sarah's shirt magenta? Well, it's definitely not salmon. I know that.
It's not salmon. Listen, I saw this super chat come in a few moments ago, so I went to the website where I bought it. They had it described just as hot pink.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Pink as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve is very invested in your color schemes.
Also, what's up with the avocado debate in the live stream?
Oh, I haven't panned over. I'm currently looking at 283 unopened comments because I have the super chats and I'm trying to go in order. What is going on over there?
I don't know. They're fighting over whether or not avocados are good. I don't know how it started, but I will just say this. I love avocados. Ooh.
Amazing. Yeah. We will get to Marlon Humphrey's thoughts on defense in just a bit. He called out Baltimore's defense before the this upcoming season. So we'll get to that in just a bit, but we do have to get through some more super chats. Kush Renata writes, I agree. Our time is now. No clear holes in the D. We got deadly wide receiver core and a soon-to-be 3-time MVP. We putting up 40 burgers on teams in 25-26. And Laura Dillander with another super chat, and it's an orange banner. That's $19.99. And on top of that, she's a Voltron.
I reignited the avocado debate.
Here we go.
In all
Start 'em
caps.
up.
Are you starting to see it now? Okay. Laura says, we just need the team to gel and get that championship spirit where everyone is all on the same page. It's going to be a great year.
And back-to-back oranges, one from Laura, one from Park Heights Prophet, who drops in a 40 burger. Speaking of 40 burgers, Kushanada. 40 for 40, Park Heights Prophet says. Get out there and play like the dog that you are. Hit everything that moves, never let up, and get ready to feel that confetti. The whole city is behind you. Let's go get it. As Brian Snyder does at his tailgates. Baltimore!
Oh, that's different from the Ray Lewis one. Okay.
It's very different. Yeah.
Baltimore. Yeah, obviously a little shout out to Teddy Buchanan there. Thank you, PHP.
Definitely. Appreciate that. And God King checking in with another one.
Says, who does Teddy think will be the other safety? Sally, we missed that during the interview.
Certainly not a question he would have answered, but appreciate you, God King. 7G Phil celebrating 1 month of channel membership. He says, hey, happy I made the live. We have become the Eagles roster of last year. Let's go win it all. Keep up the great work as usual. Hashtag Voltron. Thank you for being so. Appreciate you, Phil. And JL Green, Sarah, with another one.
Congratulations to CJ Mosley on his retirement and magnificent career.
We'll get to him in just a bit for sure. Dreams. Queon down in Virginia says, expecting great things from you, T40. Teddy Buchanan. Appreciate that. Dreams.
40,
Hayes
40,
09, channel member, and a super chat.
Been out for a while after today, going on a hike to Kentucky. Right? KY is Kentucky. But I think our slight weak spots will be linebacker 2 area and left guard. Coaching upgrades under the radar, by the way. So true. I mean, think of Buchanan. I've really enjoyed Warlop, which is tough to do considering the shoes that he's filling.
Wait, are you talking about George Warhop?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, he's talking
went
about
from Buchanan to Warhop. Did you mean?
No, I said Pagano.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Buchanan.
I think I said Pagano.
You did say Buchanan.
Okay.
Notice how I go from like, I'm going all in.
What's funny is I have such a bad record with that, including like misnaming my kids all the time, that like if I had said the correct name and you were trolling me and said I hadn't, I would have believed you.
Mile a minute, man. We're living a mile a minute lifestyle.
But right now, those are weak spots for sure. But I think it's more unknown, right? I don't know that Voorhees is going to be weak, or Cleveland, or maybe Emory Jones comes back and wins the position. I don't know yet. It's more of an unknown. So they could be weak, but who knows? Maybe they end up being, decent. We'll see.
And just to piggyback off where you were going with the end of Hayes' super chat here in terms of the coaching upgrades, you got George Warhop, like you said, who has admirably filled in for the late Joe D as offensive line coach. You got Chuck Pagano, which has garnered the most attention, of course, because of his name and the former NFL head coach and the former assistant that he was to John Harbaugh, and just his resume. And of course, hanging out with the McAfee show never hurts, just for publicity purposes over the last couple of years. But how about some that are really flying under the radar, Hayes? I'll dig even deeper into this. Tyler Santucci is the inside linebackers coach. He was plucked from the college ranks. Very well-respected guy, perhaps a future DC. And then the other one, and this probably is flying even more under the radar because he's behind Chuck Pagano, and that's Donald DeLessio. Donald was from Kansas City, and he's in the secondary. So, I mean, John continues, Sarah. We'll keep talking about it as much as we try to here, but it continues to be something that is probably underappreciated, maybe outside of Baltimore, and that is John Harbaugh's hiring practices, because he's had a number of non-traditional ones or under the radar ones over the years that have really paid dividends for him and his org. So, Sea King, King of the Seas.
Teddy was born to be a Raven, so saith I, the Sea King.
Troy Robertson, or Roberson probably, has become our latest channel member and a official Voltron, which brings us to 889 total. 889 total. Welcome, Troy, and thank you for the support. Travis Rumpel has given us some love for our Teddy conversation.
So great interview. Excited for the season to start. Me too.
Take another one. God King.
I could co-sign that. Top 2 in the nation. Here we go.
And our first gift, we've had a few new channel members, but our first gift has dropped. Wildlife Wale has brought us to 890 total channel Voltrons and counting. Perhaps 900 is in the cards. Thanks, Wildlife. Devin Jean Pierre, or is it Jean Pierre? Not sure. But Devin, thank you for the super chat. Sarah, here it is.
Glad to finally catch you guys live. Glad you could be here live. I normally save y'all for the school pickup line, but my daughter's out of school now.
Wildlife Wale says,
first time, is that the first time live? But I love that you come live with the super chat. Let's go.
I love it too. And that joins a couple other people that we've seen in the chat that are sort of entering into this summer phase that you are as well as a mom, where you can, you have more time actually it probably feels like you have less time with everybody home right now, but especially with all the appointments that you've had. But Wildlife says, living in St. Croix is paradise until you have a rolling power outage at the same time as the hashtag Vault interview. I'll have to catch up later. Whoa. He lives in St. Croix?
Sounds like it.
Cool. And he's also celebrating, is Wildlife, 1 month of channel membership.
If either of our top rookies or both are in the running for Roy, we have a top 5 defense. Book it. Listen, if our top two picks do what last year's top 2 picks did in Roger Rosengarten and Wiggins, we're good.
In our good shape.
Ooh, great shape.
And
they don't even have to be Roy. Just do what they did.
Jang leaves no room for doubt here or uncertainty in terms of where she stands on the debate. Shout out to Team Guac and Avocado.
Avocado.
And Dream says, did y'all watch First Take about Lamar? No, but I believe Kimberly Martin is one that I saw when I was combing through some of our pre-show stuff prior to coming on the show today, Sarah, and I think she went to bat, as she so often does, against Stephen A. But I don't know because I just saw the thumbnail, so that'll be something.
We'll bring it in tomorrow.
We will.
Yeah.
I will.
You will.
So anyway, let's reset things here, and we're giving you a little bit of bonus content because of the Teddy interview, and it is after 1 o'clock, so
we're going 90 today, aren't we?
It's probably going to be 90, so we'll stick around. We'll get to more super chats and gift givings as they come in. There's over 2,300 concurrents today. Thank you guys for being with us. If you could please like the video on the way in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of what we're dropping, when we're dropping our content, and everything else that we got going on here inside the channel. So partner Marlon Humphrey spoke with the media, and he has never been referred to as tight-lipped, I think, behind a microphone, unless maybe it's after a loss or something. He was very compelling, I thought, during his first press conference of this offseason. He's been on with us. Or actually, he wasn't. He was on with us on the NFL draft a year ago, I believe it was. But he did speak with reporters yesterday, and you had a bunch of takeaways that I know I agree with you on.
Yeah, he's so goofy and funny on Twitter and social media and sometimes videos, but he's also very insightful. Like, he was definitely pensive yesterday. And I feel like he's done this before. He did it in the middle of the season last year, something similar to this, but he's doing it again, and I think this is the right time to do it. He basically wants the defense to raise its standard to become the defense of old that we're used to in Baltimore. And here he is reiterating that and wanting to make sure these up-and-coming young guys know what's up in Baltimore.
We end last year, loss of the Bills. Every window opens and every window closes as far as that championship, ability. And I feel that I'm not going to say we've underperformed, but we have underperformed. I feel that we've had championship caliber rosters. I feel that we've prepared like a championship team. And there's just been something we got to do, but I don't feel that we're far off. I think I can only speak on the defense. I feel that when I first came to the Ravens, it was all about the Ravens defense. It was all about the Ravens defense. It was all about the Ravens defense. And I feel like I've let that standard, being here, I think the longest defensive guy, I feel like I've let that standard kind of slip. And that's something that I want to get back. Obviously we love Lamar Jackson. It's a great player. But I want, the Ravens' identity to be defense, like it was when I first got here. So that's something that we're chirping in our room. That's something Zio's leading the front with. We got to get the football. When I look back at, I was unaware of how elite that 2000 Ravens defense was. And when I was watching some of those playoff games, you didn't really need offense, honestly. They were just making so many plays, turnovers. And that's the regular season is very important. But that is something that we are not doing.
Your thoughts, Bobby?
Pretty insightful. He let us in a little bit. And you're right. I think it's the perfect time to have these conversations. You're smack dab between mandatory minicamp and training camp. You're the longest tenured member of the defense. You're somebody that's experienced and endured the heartbreak, the highs and lows of this Lamar era over the last several seasons. And most importantly, you understand, and he really said as much, that you're not a defense without creating turnovers. You can be as dominant as you possibly can be, and they have been. Go back to the 2023 season. They were utterly dominant.
I got
but
that
if you're
quote
not
coming up next. Yep.
Right. If you're not disrupting to the point where you're taking the football away and flipping momentum and shifting the arc of games, then what are you doing it for? And we've seen this, unfortunately, too often rear its ugly head in the month of January. He understands that. He's the leader of this defense. He now has a co-leader in a lot of ways in Jaire Alexander based on all the football that he's seen. He's got a young buck, a couple young bucks in Nate Wiggins and Malachi Starks that he's going to be taking under his wing. I get that, Malachi is a safety, but we keep talking about, I guess the theme of the offseason is Zach Orr's positionless defense that Marlon commented on and that everybody wants to sort of implement in Baltimore. So I think he's just the man for the job. And it's a great, refreshing reminder that, as you pointed out, oftentimes the playful, silly kind of nut job, Marlon Humphrey, can be seen going viral on social media. Doesn't mean that when push comes to shove, this guy's all business. And I think he gave you a little snippet and a reminder of exactly that there.
He cracked me up in the beginning where he's like, I'm not going to say we underperformed, meaning the defense. He's like, but we underperformed. So I am going to say it actually. But I love that where he's like, listen, I know we got Lamar Jackson. I know we have Lamar Jackson, but we need to get back to being known for defense. There's no reason why those two things can't coexist. And Bobby, I almost guarantee you, me, and everybody in the chat has experienced that friend that's like a moocher that just is constantly content because you bring, so much to the table or whatever that they're fine with just letting you do it and not pitching in, right? It's like, he or she's got it. Or maybe you're the moocher. Maybe if you're listening, you're like, hey, that's me. Like lots of times if I go on friend trips, I always like to be the one that's in the background. I don't like being the one making the plans. But then you realize, hey, even though this person likes making plans, I should probably help out because it can be stressful and a lot of work, right? You can't just sit back and let somebody else do all the work. They could all sit back and be like on defense, listen, we're not great, but Lamar's making, that kind of money. He's going to be the highest paid guy. Like he's going to bail us out. No, you have to have pride in what you do. And so he should 100% be like, I get that Lamar Jackson is the face of this franchise and we go as he goes. And at the same time, while he is creating finally an offensive identity, that doesn't mean we lose the defensive identity. Not even close. And so to your point, talking about those turnovers, he said because he has recently gotten married, and congratulations to Marlo. He said that he's, for the first time, kind of stuck around in Baltimore during the offseason rather than leaving. And so he got back into the castle and he was going over, they were reviewing what had happened to the defense throughout the season. He and most of the staff, maybe there was a few guys around, and you spoke to the turnovers. That is what he said. A lot of it's more complex, but if you're going to boil it down, That's really it. So here he is elaborating on creating turnovers.
This is my first full offseason living here. And so season ended. And for like probably a solid 2 weeks, me and some of the staff, we were trying to figure out those same answers. The very simple answer, the one that did come is the Bills had, I think, 3 turnovers. The Ravens had 0. And that right there, I think, is that's just to tell the story. The percentages, 3 turnovers are more than likely going to win the game. 2 turnovers, you're more than likely going to win the game. Even 1 turnover, you're more than likely going to win the game if the other team has 0. So that's the one thing that's pretty evident. It doesn't really matter how good you play defensively. If you can't get the football, you're not playing good enough. And so that's the biggest thing to harp on. And like I said, that's got to be our identity. That's got to be all 11 guys that's on the field. Identity, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball. And I feel like when I first got here, once again,
I mean, we've talked about this on the show because Lamar Jackson and the offense get so much criticism for turning the ball over, which, is fair. But it's very rare for people to be like, oh, but the defense isn't matching that. They're not creating any turnover. So he's right. I mean, statistically speaking, this is why every time you go into a game, we ask what the keys are. It's almost always, turnovers. Because statistically speaking, if you win the turnover battle, you are going to win the game. It's rare for you to be able to overcome that. Okay. Maybe you can overcome 1, maybe 2, but 3, it's just too many. And so when he says he wants the Ravens defense to be part of the overall identity of the franchise again, and then specifically that identity is creating turnovers, I'm here for that. That is what they for sure need to get going in 2025.
Yeah, in fairness, I would argue that 2 of the 3 turnovers from that Buffalo game that the Ravens coughed up were probably self-inflicted. I thought the Andrews punch out was just an exceptional play by that Bills defender, but the point remains, right? It's a disturbing trend that we've seen time and time again that is ultimately making the other phase of football's job very difficult. And that is, Lamar Jackson's offense. And then that can lead to pressing, and it's a trickle-down effect from there.
Yeah, and so obviously he finally got to give his reaction to the addition of Jaire Alexander, and he was talking about how obviously Lamar wanted him to come, but kind of under the radar is Marlon and him. I think they had joint practices. They were talking about being together, but they were like, that's never going to happen. But he talks about what Jaire brings to the defense, specifically the secondary, and maybe Lamar's the most happy, but Marlo might be a close second.
So before AD got hurt, obviously there was going to be a ton of a lot of flexibility. Then we had Cheeto, and it's like, wow, we can get even more flexibility. Then AD goes down. It's like we still got some spots, and then now we had Jaire, and it's just I think the options are endless. With me playing a little safety, Kyle playing that, it's even Malachi in college, he played kind of some of that nickel position. So it's going to be a fun secondary, I think, and it can be a serious matchup. If there's a guy that we feel that this guy can cover this guy better, we can match him up with him. We can all pick kind of who we want. We can have 4, first-round corners out there at the field. There's just so much that we can do. It's really exciting.
I like that, where it's like we got so many of us, we can just be like, hey, what do you want? Who do you want to match up against? Like, what do you do best? Maybe you're good against this type of wide receiver and I'm better at this type. You know what I mean? He's just like, the flexibility there will be quite nice to have. And then if Ardarius Washington is able to return by the end of the year, that'll take that flexibility to another level.
Take a look at this list right here. The tight window target rate. Next Gen Stats, of course, put this graphic together.
Yeah.
And they look at outside corners since 2018 with a minimum of 250 targets. That's the floor. 3 Ravens are on the top 5 in this list. And granted, Cheeto's the reason why Tennessee let go of Cheeto Awuzie and is willing to pay 7.5 M's to go have him suit up for another team was due to health or lack thereof. The reason why Jaire Alexander has the one blemish on his resume is due to health or lack thereof. Marlon Humphrey's been pretty durable aside from what he was resurgent season was 24, so 23 he just couldn't stay on the field consistently. But what we're looking at right now is the tight window target rate of the top 5 outside corners since 2018. And Marlon is 2 on this list. Jaire is 4 and Cheeto is 5. The only other 2 non-Ravens are Byron Jones in Miami and Charvarius Ward in Indy. Pretty darn good company here for 3 Ravens now that are in the same secondary.
That's bananas to have all 3 of them. It's just basically saying to quarterbacks, you better not be off target. You better be pinpoint accurate because we are right here. We are right here. Yep. So look at that. 3 of the 5 are now Baltimore Ravens, which is why Marlon said a phrase that is the complete opposite of what Ozzie Newsome preached his entire time as a GM and maybe before. I don't know, Bobby. What's the phrase? Like, you can never have too many corners?
Well, I think it was that essentially.
Yes.
And then the add-on was like, and if you feel like you're good, go get another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of what EDC did because we were feeling pretty decent. A little nervous about whether Cheeto could do all 17 games. But Marlo, his perspective might be a little different.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I think we did kind of speak on teaming up last year. But obviously, he was like, I'm here. And I was like, oh, I'm probably not leaving here either. So it ended up working out. But really excited. I think a quote that's never been said and probably will never be said in NFL history is we got too many corners that can cover. So I think that's a great problem to have, and really excited for that addition.
This freaking guy.
We got too many corners that can cover until they go down, Marlo, until they go down. But until then, you guys better compete. You got to compete for those snaps.
Yeah. And it's funny. Since this Jaire signing went down, Sarah, it's funny how discourse can shift so quickly. And
yes.
And of course it should shift because Jaire is a star. He's proven to be a star, an all-pro caliber corner when healthy. The big if, will be, can he sustain that health this upcoming season? That remains to be seen. But what I mean by the sort of shift in conversation is we went from, and when I say we, I'm just kind of looping some of the conversations that I've seen within the Twitter sphere, within the fan base, on specific corners that they were really excited about and talking about ad nauseum really throughout OTAs, and that's TJ Tampa. And so now you're at a point where will TJ Tampa's development not necessarily be something that we're going to have a chance to see this upcoming season like so many had thought maybe prior to this edition, because now they really do have a situation where unless TJ goes out and puts on a summer that can't be ignored, I don't know if he's knocking on the door for CB3, Sarah, right now. He's going to be earning his keep through special teams, you would think. And if Awuzie drops off, perhaps he gets a chance to sort of earn his way into that rotation. I'd have to think those reps are going to be few and far between, though, for him.
Absolutely. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough if everybody's healthy, that's for sure. But as Marlon said, it's a great problem to have. Great problem to have. Let's go. Especially with 2 of the guys having quite the injury history. So
no doubt.
Quick hits, or are there any more super chats to catch up on?
Yeah, we are not caught up. So let's pick things back up with Wildlife Wale, who's dropping in avocado.
There we go.
Emojis. I think that's
this is so going to make me want. I've got 2 avocados in my kitchen. I'm so going to go have some after the show.
I bet you are. I think that's an emoji that's like licking his chops, right? He loves avocado.
Yeah. Yum.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Liv B for you.
Slept through the Teddy interview and worked through the Jaire news yesterday, but I'm here today Paying my dues. Let's effing go, Ravens. Hashtag Voltrons.
We're glad you're here, Liv. Thank you so much. You're a channel member as well. I should have added that in, as is SodBlitz34, who writes, just to remind some people, in 2023, Voorhees had an 81 rating from Next Gen and a 6.24 prospect grade, meaning he will be a starter. This is when he was coming out of USC. 7th round was an absolute steal, and the reason why he fell, Sarah, as we both know, was the ACL tear.
Yep.
Ravens went back into the 7th round to get him. They had already conducted their press conference at the end of the draft. They go get him. They start him at left guard last year. Gets injured. McCary never coughs up the job from that point forward until the Cleveland game at the end of the season. Chef Trez is what's up, Chef? Where has Chef been, man? Chef Trez is celebrating 1 month of channel membership, and you already know I got to get after him a little bit. Where have you been, Chef Trez? Are you just a seasonal guy these days? Or what are you, bro?
Oh,
Chef
shots
Trez.
fired. Shots fired at Chef Trez.
For you.
Is it me? Okay. Is it time to trot Eye of the Horus Taurus out at kicker? Oh, can Taurus kick? Is there a background I don't know of? Says it seems like the bar and pressure so far is busting pipes for Tyler Loop. Hashtag block. What? Oh, okay. Block Nation. Okay. Hashtag Super Bowl bound.
Oh, Chef. Taurus, are you maybe?
Oh, Eye of the Taurus is saying that he can, although are those supposed to be emojis after that?
Chef says he's in school. He knows I'm getting on him. He's in school. All right, Chef. All right. You're getting another degree. I didn't know it. But Taurus, are you withholding information with us about your leg?
Okay, Evan is saying he cannot kick. Are we being trolled? I'm very confused.
Steve's making it clear that he knows. No, nah. Taurus can't kick. Oh, you're Taurus right to the source. He goes, yes, I can step in a kicker.
Explain yourself, Taurus.
Listen, you gotta beat out Loop, who's been struggling. You gotta beat out Hoyland, who's the undrafted guy. Can you do it? Taurus can do whatever he wants. You know what he can do really well?
Troll
his arse off in the chat.
I think he's just an okay troller.
He's the well. I'm talking about the king of consistency. Quick hits. We love you, Toto. We call you Toto.
I was hoping that would bother him a little bit if I said he was an okay troller. But now he's going to come even harder, though.
He might. All right, quick hits.
Nick Cordy. Yes, quick hits. Nick Cordy put up his final comp pick predictions because it can't be changed anymore. And so this is actually a quote retweet of his, but it was a way too long table, so I didn't put that in. If Nick is correct, the Ravens will have 9 picks in the 2026 NFL draft. Obviously, your first, second, third. Then they have 3 fifths. 1 from the Jets, 1 that they already get. 4 fifths. 1 from the Jets, their own, and then 2 comp picks. Then also a 7th comp. They will not have a 7th round pick because they used it in a trade with the Jets during the draft. And then another 7th rounder for the Trey White trade back in the day. So those are your 9 picks that they have so far.
In other words, day 3 is going to be jammed just like it was this past year.
4 fifth rounders.
The unfortunate truth is I'm already stressing about the 2026 NFL draft.
Oh, I know you are.
And the reason why, and you will hear about this many a time over the next 10 months.
Well, you shouldn't stress about it. Like there's nothing you can do. Like you just won't be here for it.
I know. It just bugs me. But
and here's the thing. Obviously, you're the one who drives these marathons. If it were up to me, we would not do these marathons. In fact, this last one, I was only here for half of it. Because I think it's crazy. Okay. I think it's crazy how many hours are put in. I will put on a half marathon in your absence, but I'm sure that's what's stressing you out.
Here, yeah. I'll just announce it one time and we probably won't talk about it again until the off season. But I have been asked to serve as best man in my college roommate's wedding, which I was not surprised to have been asked. I was surprised when he said the dates are the 26th of April
He
in
clearly doesn't know
2026.
football. He clearly doesn't know football.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's a I think he's a Dallas fan, honestly, and he grew up in Maryland, so there's something wrong with that. But I love D-Train, and I am going to be in a wedding, and the rehearsal dinner is on day 2, meaning night 2 of the draft, so rounds 2 and 3. And the wedding itself, which I'm in and the best man in, is on Saturday, which is day 3, where they're going to have all these boatload of picks. So, hey, it's when life gets in the way sometimes. We'll have opening night coverage. You're going to help out as much as possible, obviously, on day 2 and day 3, which I appreciate. And the marathon is going to have to be on hold till 2027, folks, because that's what's going on here. Anyway.
Hey, don't stick your nose up at a half marathon, though.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Not you, just the world.
Because to your point, it's it is something that maybe I go a little bit above and beyond on. And this year was absurd. I mean, my health took a hit with all the energy drinks that I was consuming there over those 3 days, but it was fun.
But we love you for it.
I love you guys. Yeah. 2027 marathon returns. It'll be a little bit different coming up in 2026, which is totally fine. John Harbaugh yesterday during his press conference says that Andrew Voorhees and Daniel Fa'alele are, quote, in the lead for starting guard jobs, but they know they have to play well. Essentially saying that Ben Cleveland would be a long shot here to earn one of those jobs. He also said that Emory Jones, the rookie, should return, quote, at some point in training camp. He said the third-round rookie is unlikely to be available at the start of it. So, again, this is the shoulder injury. This is that labrum that he's dealing with. We learned of this early in the offseason. He has not yet taken part in anything outside of meetings and other things that he can do physically in-house away from cameras. But, Sarah, this is just an early look at perhaps what isn't as heated of a battle, maybe positionally speaking, as it was last summer.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've known that Fa'alele, I don't know why we even have to say he's in the lead. Like, it's clearly Fa'alele's job. I mean, when there was so much, controversy last year, they stuck with him for all 17 games. He improved. And you think about it in the postseason, he wasn't a liability. No. He still needs to get better, obviously. But that to me was like a known. Voorhees being in the lead over Cleveland, according to John Harbaugh, is also not a surprise to me, given the history of Harbaugh and Cleveland. I am bummed out for Emory Jones, though. That's tough as a rookie to have to miss all this stuff. I know he's in the building, he's taking in practice, all that kind of stuff, trying to soak everything up. And, hopefully he does get to be a part of training camp, because I thought that he could be a real contender. But being injured is could steal that opportunity from him.
Yeah. Drafted as tackle, right? And when you say contender, maybe at guard was the thought early on. Their bookend tackles obviously are taken care of. McCary leaves, who was the swing tackle at times. So really kind of puts more of an emphasis on the addition of Joe Noteboom, who on paper should be that sort of McCary replacement to serve as the swing, should they need him to do so coming up this fall. Elsewhere, calendar dates, we just talked with Teddy about this and confirmed it, that rookies will report on July 15th for training camp. So it's July 15th, early. It's very early. So July 15th falls on a Tuesday next month. And then a week later, veterans report also on a Tuesday, the 22nd. Joint practices will be with the Colts in Baltimore on the 5th of August. The 5th of August falls also on a Tuesday. And one other joint practice session will be in Ashburn, Virginia, with the Washington Commanders. That falls on Thursday, the 21st of August. So just some calendar notes to keep in the back of your mind. They're coming up quickly, as it always does. And that now brings us to a couple super chats that we've received. And that is the fact that C.J. Mosley, 5-time All-Pro linebacker and a draft choice of the Ravens, is calling it a career. He's the former Ravens and Jets captain. As Matt notes here on X, he posted over 1,000 tackles in 11 NFL seasons. At Alabama, he won the Butkus Award, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and back-to-back national titles. That is incredible. And the Ravens nugget, Sarah, from Rick Ritter of WJZ. He was hoping CJ was, according to Rick's sources, for a reunion in Baltimore to chase a title. Rick says there was a mutual interest.
Oh, wow.
But unfortunately, and this is the sad part, he couldn't get cleared with his neck injury. So it was a medical that perhaps was the difference in a reuniting with CJ and the Ravens.
Could you imagine CJ and Rowe back there together? Oh,
yeah.
I just feel like I'm missing out on life now.
That's pretty
that's
big
too
news.
Bad. So basically, my planting of the seeds worked at the Super Bowl. But his neck injury is getting in the way.
2 years in the making. Well done.
It couldn't be any other reason, of course. That's too bad. That really is too bad. Like I'm like sad for us because I would have loved to have seen Roquan and CJ team up. But I'm even more sad for CJ. You know, like Zio understands that type of stuff, right? Retiring before you even want to. At least, I mean, CJ did have a longer career. So, man, what a nugget of news.
For sure. Best wishes to him. We will reach out to his camp, try and get him on the show and celebrate his 11 NFL seasons. Elsewhere, you brought this one in. Jaire and his former teammate, they're going to be back in the AFC North.
I had to. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, Alexander, teammates at one time for the Packers. And Jimmy Seafood, you know, they got a zinger in here, putting a caption to this picture of them about to give a high five and says, quote, appreciate you throwing me the ball, homie. That's going to happen, right? Can we put that out into the universe that Aaron Rodgers quarterbacking for the Steelers, that Jaire is going to pick him off? And can I even take it to the next level and say it's a pick six? Oh, that would be glorious. Ravens Steelers season finale, nail in the coffin. Jaire picks off Aaron Rodgers. Your guy.
A lot of familiarity between the two. There they are as Packers. They're going to play each other twice a year, so it could happen. Could absolutely happen. Elsewhere, to Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders, first bump in the road here. No pun intended. He was cited by police early on Tuesday morning. It was after midnight, I believe, for driving 101 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. I saw the dash cam footage, or I should say the police footage, with what they wear on their chest.
Yeah.
He was respectful, easy to work with for the most part. It sounded as if he was trying to call in a favor from someone, maybe to the organization, that maybe, you know, because we've all been, I mean, I've been in these situations, not driving 100 miles an hour by any stretch, but I've been in situations where I've been pulled over for various things. This is years ago, but it just happened the other day to my dad, who had an illegible license plate. He was in Saratoga Springs. He was pulled over, and we have a really good friend who's a trooper in New York State, and he called him in. And you call in immediately as it happens. Like as the officer is behind you, tailing you, you start to call whoever it is, or maybe you have a card on you. And oftentimes they'll just be like, hey, just be safe out there.
Yeah.
Like letting you go on this one. And so I think Shedeur, based on the footage, was trying to do that with somebody that's in his inner circle. He didn't get there in time enough, so he did get docked. He did get cited for this. But ultimately, Sarah, I mean, that's one aspect of it. Everybody's just taking this and running with it because it's Shedeur.
Yeah, that's too bad. There is something. I mean, I get it too. I mean, like my son has his temps right now. There is something about just the need for speed, you know, and it's exhilarating and it's fun. Obviously, it's unsafe. I mean, you're almost, 101 over 60. Got to slow down.
Yeah.
But hopefully that ends there and it's a lesson learned and he can move forward.
Especially after midnight too. It's dark. I mean, you just don't know. What if there's a deer coming by? I mean, you could get there's big enough deer out there that could seriously hurt you if it comes through the windshield. I mean, I've seen that before. So
and it was kind of like crazy, you know. I was driving back an hour away to get the show. That's why a few minutes late. But I was going 79, I think, in like a 70 or whatever. And this car was like drifting over into my lane. And so I kind of swerved a little bit just to get more to the right of my lane. It just felt like she was getting too close. And just at 79, it just felt like a little out of control, right? From like a quick little swerve, like you never know at those speeds. I could feel the tires regain its traction. I was like, man, just from a little jerk right there at that speed, so much can happen. So yeah, you definitely got to slow down.
And Mr. Jackson's right in the comment section. He's like 101 miles an hour in a Benz feels like you're doing 50. It's a smooth ride now.
Yeah.
Now I have no idea whether or not Shador drives a Benz. I'm sure it's a nice vehicle. It looked like
it's a nice one that feels like it's smooth and slow and fine.
It looked to me like a truck, but I just couldn't tell. It had Colorado plates. I just couldn't tell what it was. And so, gosh, even in my Bronco, I can get going. And my mom, since my mom and I have been spending a lot of time together this summer, she's like, Bobby, how fast are you going? I'm like, man, I'm going 80. I don't even feel it, so I get it. I also get what Albert Breer noted recently. And this is some interesting little insight in terms of why Shador wasn't getting any. And I mean, any. The Browns didn't give him any first team reps all throughout the OTA sessions.
Have they done many yet? They're mandatory, I mean? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But the quote that's sort of garnering all the traction here, and you see it on the graphic, is from Albert Breer, I think the reality is he was pretty far behind to begin with. Here's the context to that. Quote, I think Shador, and this isn't any fault of his own, had a lot more ground to cover than Dylan Gabriel, their other draft pick at the quarterback position. Because of that, it's harder to put him out there with the first team. Breer recalled his own reports during the pre-draft process about how Shador wasn't as up to speed on NFL concepts, despite having Dion and Pat Shurmur, former NFL coach, coaching him. Quote, he had a bigger learning curve than Dylan Gabriel. There were teams that were stunned by how little Shador knew relative to what they thought. He was pretty far behind. This Browns podcast goes on to say this would explain why the Browns wanted Shador to work separate from the other quarterbacks and get as many practice reps as possible against the backups. So, and it was just a little bit of context here as to why he wasn't receiving first team reps, which was getting a lot of run on social media, but that is the latest with the AFC North. And that brings us to a couple happy birthday celebrations, Sarah. Devontae Walker, and I just mentioned him, the swing tackle, Joe Noteboom.
Devontae's hearing lots of good stuff from his offseason, for sure.
Yep.
So good
he
for
flashed
him.
While you were out. Yeah, he was flashing. So,
and it would be great. I mean, obviously we know what the depth is there, but if they can get some packages in there, get some speed, threaten the safeties a little bit, open things up.
Yeah. This was OTAs too, right? It was like no Lamar. It was Cooper Rush. It was Devin Leary. But hey, best wishes to him. It's a packed room. See if you can find his way in there a little bit. Let's see. We left off with Torres saying that he can step in a kicker. Steve was like, no, you can't, Torres. Soblitz 34 says, shout out to General Gordon Granger. If you know, you know. And Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod, is celebrating 3 months of channel membership. Sarah, for you.
Spooky season for the Ravens. # mom. Mom, where's the meatloaf? Love you guys. Can the season just be here already? LOL.
As much as I want to scream it, I know she's right upstairs. She's going to be like, what?
I am the mom, so my kids are probably like, what are you doing?
Oh, man. All right, back to the gifts. Mike gets us to 891. That's 891 total Voltrons. Thanks, Mike. And Park Heights Profit gets us to 896 total with a 5 spot. Thanks to both of you. We're closing in on that 900 number, 4 out in terms of total channel Voltrons. Unbelievable support from you guys this week. We appreciate you. Levinson writes, Sarah and Bobby, where can I find y'all's email? I will put it up on the screen right now in our ticker. It's BaltimoreRavensVault@gmail.com, and you can see it right now. You can also always just go to our show notes. It's the description of the video below what you're looking at, depending on what platform you're on, and we have everything. We have Patreon information. We have sponsorship information. We have all of our social media accounts. You name it. We also have our email. So thanks to Levinson. P. Brownie, Sarah, for you.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Good. Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
Oh, yeah. Will is a legend, isn't he?
He is a legend. I remember watching him on SNL. I loved the cheerleader skits when I was young. But anyway, okay. He says, bring CJ in as an intern. get his coaching going.
And finally, DreDog679 says, let's not forget Lamar did the same thing. It just didn't get pulled over. He was speeding. He put it up on his Instagram story. It was during his rookie summer, right? Going into 2018. I believe that was the case.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact year, but it feels like a while ago.
I want to say it was like literally going into 2018, if memory serves. Either that or the going into maybe it was after his rookie year going into 2019. Mike is trying desperately to do his part to get us to the 900 number. He brings us to 3 shy at 897.
There we go.
So thank you, Mike.
Yes, Michael.
We've given you,
if that is your full name,
111 minutes of content today. It's been a heck of a. And here comes Sherry, pushes us over the top. Sherry brings us to 902, and now the question becomes, Sarah, while you're out tomorrow,
can you hit 1,000, which PHP said he wanted yesterday?
Might I hit the number? Thank you to Sherry for a 5 spot. You pushed us over the 900 milestone number. We thank you. God King hitting us with a super chat. He writes, Shador, the most accurate passer. College history, he says. Sod Blitz 34, Sarah, with a channel membership and a super chat to clarify what he was referring to as the other one.
6/19/1865, General Granger marched his troops into Galveston, Texas, and announced he was there to enforce General Order Number 3, the emancipation of all enslaved people. Look at the history lesson Sod Blitz has given us today that we should have already known.
It rings. I know. I was going to say it rings. As soon as he started spelling it out that way, it all just like came rushing back. So thank you, Sod. Appreciate you. And let's see. Over 2,400 concurrents right now, including 600 plus in the YouTube space. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or a patron like Darian and 100 Crystal Clear. Thank you both for believing in what we're building. This is your monthly shout out. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the support that you give us. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast is how you can do the same if you're interested. Thanks, Darian. And thanks, Crystal. Partner, pretty thorough today.
We got another super chat there.
What's up, Devin?
And today's Juneteenth, by the way. That's why that came in today.
Correct.
Yeah.
Devin writes, really upset. I couldn't figure out how to give gifts.
I think it has to be on your desktop. I was looking for it too on my mobile. I don't think it works there.
Okay. So, Devin, take that for what it is. Appreciate you for the second super chat that you've given us. You guys are the best. It was an awesome Thursday. You're going to be on the water tomorrow, so you enjoy yourself.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
I'm sure.
Listen, June and half of July has just been, what can we hashtag this? Sarah Summer Fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's needed. You need it. We need it. We need this time, you know?
Yeah.
So, and our time is coming together. Coming up next week. You know, our last live show will be Tuesday, and the next one won't be until July 7th. So just everybody kind of mark your calendars accordingly and fill that void somehow over those 10 days. Thank you all. I will catch you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern. On the way out, please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank Teddy Buchanan. You can tweet at him for us to just show a little bit of thanks for his time, and it was great to get to know him. Go check out his meet and greet on his social media in Newark, Delaware, coming up on Sunday. We will have all kinds of short form content dropping later this afternoon, so hopefully you guys check it out. And thanks to Baltimore County Golf for the continued support sponsoring this channel. For Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Thursday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. As always, Voltrons, we appreciate you. We will catch up with you in under 23 hours from right now. And thank you for spending some time with us here inside the vault.